So what we're seeing right now in the Indian financial market, it's this incredible historic tug of war. You've got this massive, unprecedented wave of foreign money heading for the exits. But on the other side, there's this powerful wall of domestic money that's holding the line. Today, we're getting to the bottom of this $12 billion mystery. Just let that number sink in for a second. $12 billion. That is how much money foreign institutional investors, or FIIs, yanked out of Indian stocks in March of 2026. I mean, to put it plainly, that's a record-breaking sell-off. At any other time, a number like that would have spelled absolute catastrophe for the market. And yet, it didn't. The huge crash that everyone would have expected to see, well, it just never came. Sure, the market bent a little, but it absolutely did not break. And that resilience, that's the real mystery we're unpacking today. With $12 billion fleeing, what on earth was holding everything together? All right, so to solve this, we've got to start with the sellers. Why did all this foreign money run for the hills in the first place? Now, here's the most important thing to get. This wasn't really about investors losing faith in India's growth story. No, this was a global reaction, a knee-jerk response to a world that all of a sudden felt a whole lot riskier. And it really boils down to three big global triggers. First off, a geopolitical shock. Conflict flared up in the Middle East, and that sent oil prices soaring past $116 a barrel. Now, for a country like India that imports a ton of oil, that is a massive economic red flag. Second, you have the classic flight to safety. As the world got more unstable, investors started flocking to risk-free U.S. Treasury bonds, which suddenly looked way more appealing than stocks in emerging markets. And finally, let's be honest, there was some valuation discomfort. Indian stocks had been priced for perfection, so when things got rocky, foreign funds didn't hesitate to cash in their chips and take their profits. And hey, just so we're all on the same page, when we're talking about these FIIs, who are they? Well, think of massive global players. We're talking about huge investment funds, pension funds, big-time asset managers, all based outside of India, investing billions into the markets here. For a long time, they were the ones calling the shots. But here's where the story gets really interesting. While those FIIs were rushing for the door, a new, incredibly powerful force was stepping up. This is the story of the other side of the battle, the domestic institutional investors, or DIIs, and of course, the millions of regular Indian investors who are backing them. To really get how much things have changed, you just have to look back to the 2008 global financial crisis. Back then, when the FIIs pulled out, the Indian market crashed hard. But fast forward to the 2026 oil shock, and you see a similar FII exodus met with amazing resilience. The entire game has changed. So what was the big difference? Well, it all comes down to where Indians are putting their savings these days. See, over the last decade, there's been this quiet revolution, a huge structural shift away from just putting money into physical things like real estate and gold, and instead pouring it into financial assets like mutual funds and insurance. And that has created this incredibly deep pool of domestic money that just wasn't there on this scale before.
Now, the engine that's driving all this domestic power is what our source material calls the SIP juggernaut. And it's a relentless, almost unstoppable four-step process. You have millions of retail investors putting in a fixed amount of money every single month like clockwork. This creates this massive, steady stream of cash flowing into mutual funds. The fund managers then take that sticky capital, as they call it, and use it to buy stocks, especially when foreign selling makes those stocks cheaper. And the steady, consistent buying acts like a giant shock absorber, stopping the market from collapsing.
So what happens when the FII's selling pressure meets the DII's buying power? Well, it did more than just stabilize the market. It actually created a whole new reality, completely reshaping which sectors came out on top. And you can really see this tug-of-war playing out at the sector level. FIIs needed a quick exit, right? So they dumped their most liquid, easy-to-sell assets. That meant heavy selling in big sectors like banking and financials, and also in IT. But at the same time, our domestic investors were being much more strategic. They were buying into companies focused on the Indian domestic story, pouring money into PSUs, defense, and consumer goods, basically sectors that are shielded from all that global chaos. You know, there's a really incredible silver lining in all this volatility. As our DIIs and retail investors were buying up everything the FIIs were selling, a huge transfer of ownership was happening. The ownership of top Indian companies is literally shifting from foreign hands to domestic ones. And what that means is that in the future, the dividends, the profits, the wealth that these companies create, it's going to stay right here in the Indian economy. That's a huge long-term positive. Okay, so that's the big picture, but let's bring it back to you. What does all this mean for your own investments? How should a retail investor navigate this brand new landscape? Let's break down a 4-point strategic playbook based on our source material. First things first, and this is maybe the most important takeaway of all, do not stop your SIPs. Seriously, the source material is clear that this is the absolute worst thing you could do right now. SIPs are literally designed to take advantage of moments like this. When you keep investing, you're buying more units at cheaper prices, and that is what's going to supercharge your portfolio's growth when the market turns around. All right, second piece of advice, start thinking domestic. You want to try and minimize your exposure to companies that really depend on what's happening in the US or Europe. Instead, look for companies that are plugged into India's own growth story, the ones benefiting from our own consumers and from all the government spending on things like infrastructure and defense. Number 3. Now, this is a really interesting one. There's a special opportunity opening up right now. Because FIIs just dump their big blue chip stocks to get out fast, a lot of fundamentally solid, fantastic companies are now on sale. This creates these rare, low-risk chances to buy into market leaders at a discount. If you have some extra cash, this could be the time to pick up some high-quality companies that have been unfairly beaten down. And finally, number 4, use this volatility as a chance to be a strategist, not an emotional reactor. This isn't the time to panic sell. It's a perfect time to look at your portfolio and rebalance. Maybe you were a bit too heavy on risky small caps. Well, now's your chance to shift some of that into those defensive, discounted large cap stocks we just talked about. You could even think about adding some safe havens like gold and silver. So, in the end, that $12 billion FII exodus of 2026 wasn't the market crash it could have been. Instead, it was the ultimate stress test for India's new financial strength, and it passed with flying colors. The story has changed. The Indian market is no longer just a passenger in a car driven by foreign investors. And for the smart, disciplined investor, this moment isn't a crisis, it's an opportunity, which is perfectly captured by this final thought from our source. The panic of others can be the foundation of your future wealth.